Hey guys, my name is Timio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question comes from Adam, and it is, what do you think of the possibility of the next Battlefield title being set in the future? The addition of hover tanks and the railgun raises flags that a futuristic title could be a possibility. What do you think? Well, I definitely don't think that DICE is ruling out the idea of having a futuristic game. I know a lot of people are hoping that we get Battlefield 2143. Like, if that is the next big Battlefield game, I know a lot of people would be ecstatic by that news. But I have a feeling that that won't be the case. And so my gut is telling me is that EA wants to go for a trifecta here, where every single year they're able to launch a huge AAA first-person shooter that's gonna make them oodles of cash. At the end of the day, they are a business, that's what they're going for. And so one year, basically what's coming up right now, they'll release Battlefronts. The next year will be the big next Battlefield title, like Battlefield 5, for example, and then the one after that will essentially be a spin-off of the Battlefield franchise, much like what we have right now with Hardline. This cycle will of course repeat after that. We'll get a big new Star Wars game, another core Battlefield title, and then another spin-off. And then we'll repeat until they're completely out of ideas. And so now you might be thinking, well, this all sounds fine and dandy, that sounds great, but why does it exclude the notion that the next big Battlefield game won't be set in a futuristic setting? Well, my gut is telling me that EA and DICE don't want to compete with themselves internally. They want to create a product that doesn't clash with itself. And so, of course, they're going to be creating Battlefront, that Star Wars futuristic awesomeness, but if they also go in and have Battlefield 2143, a consumer might look at those two purchases and be like, well, I want that awesome future combat, I want laser beams and all that awesomeness, but I don't really want to buy pretty much two of the same games. Hopefully they won't feel that similar. I'm crossing my fingers that Battlefront doesn't fall into that trap since DICE is creating it, but a consumer looking in it from the outside, they might just be like, all right, I'm only going to buy one of these. But if the next big Battlefield comes around and it's a modern military game, well, they'll be like, oh, that gameplay is going to be completely different from Battlefront, and they might be more likely to pick up both of them. I could be completely wrong with this. I mean, to be completely honest, I'm not looking at any stats, I'm not looking at any spreadsheets or data or anything along those lines. I'm just trusting my gut, and my gut is telling me that EA, of course, does not want to compete with themselves, and I think it's for this very reason why Battlefield 2143 may not be something that we will see, at least in the near future. The next question for today comes from Alexander, and it is, what do you think about having a Levolution-centered game mode? One team has to take down the Shanghai building, and the other must try and stop them. This could be also taken on over to the Tower and Caspian border, the smokestacks on Zavad, and so on. It would have to be restricted to maps with big Levolution events, but I think that it could be a fun new mode and give more meaning to Levolution. Honestly, the first time I read this question, my immediate reaction was, this is how Rush should have been at the very beginning. I love Rush. It has a lot of issues, especially when Battlefield 4 launched, it had a lot of problems. Thank goodness DICE went in and addressed all of the issues on many of the maps, but I've loved this all the way since its introduction in Bad Company. My biggest issue with it, though, is that while you're destroying MCOMs, you're destroying these data files, which I guess fits thematically, it would have been way more impressive, especially with Levolution and destruction, to have you take out key objects on the battlefield, and that was the way that you were progressing from base to base or from capture point to capture points. And so let's say, for example, we are playing on Siege of Shanghai, where the tower itself is the end objective when you are on offense. Your main objective on the battlefield is to go in and destroy the tower. Maybe it has a lot of weaponry in it. Maybe that's where the Chinese faction has been storing a lot of their arsenal, and so it's the job of the US to go in and try to eliminate that major resource for the enemy faction. Then we get some storytelling in there. Then we actually have a thematic feel to the entire conflict, and it's not just blowing up these pitiful MCOMs. It's not the biggest of deal, but it really could have added this further layer of immersion, but more importantly, it could have just added in really cool destruction and Levolution moments, like you mentioned in your question, that could have dynamically changed the battlefield, and the battlefield would have changed because you were progressing through it with these certain objectives. For all the problems that Medal of Honor had, one of the greatest strengths of it, or at least what I found to be awesome, was that if you were playing their rush game mode, or their version of it, you were taking out key objectives on the battlefield. You were taking out a tank, or you were destroying a bridge, and it all made sense thematically. I mean, this would be something that you would be doing as a soldier. You would be trying to take out these key objectives. And so while I don't necessarily think that DICE needs to add in a brand new game mode that is entirely centered around these large Levolution events, if they just incorporated it well enough into Rush, I think it would be an amazing addition into the game. And so, yeah, solid recommendation. Once again, I don't think they need to make a brand new game mode, but the concept of itself is very sound. The next question for today is, how would you feel if DICE took out the in-combat spawn mechanic in Battlefield 4? I, for one, would rather spawn and die than not spawn at all. I don't know if I could disagree with this anymore, because while I do share your frustration, if you are trying to spawn on your only teammate that's left in the battle, he's on the front lines, and you want to get back into the thick of combat really quickly, it can be pretty frustrating to be basically forced to spawn back at your deployment or on another one of the capture points. But you also have to remember that this system is in place not only to protect you from dying instantly as soon as you spawn in, but also to protect the person who is trying to kill your teammates. I'm sure you guys have experienced this on numerous occasions where you're about to take out that guy that's out in the open. You've addressed that you're safe to take him out. You're not going to get flanked. He's all by himself. It's basically a free kill. But then all of a sudden, two people spawn out of his ass when he's at 50% health because you've been shooting at him. He's gonna die. That's a guaranteed death for him. But the two other people, well, they're full on health. They have that quick spawn immunity. You switch on over them, you're already running low on your ammunition. You might be able to take out the other, but then the other guy, of course, is gonna be able to take you out no problem, because then you're relying on your secondary to try to take someone out with their primary and at full health. This happened way too often in Battlefield 4, and it's been something that has been an issue for a very long time. It was a problem all the way back in Battlefield 3, pretty much an issue in the Battlefield franchise that has this whole team spawning system. And so personally, I love the way that DICE has gone about implementing this new spawn system. I do sympathize with you. I know it can be frustrating. You want to get back into the thick of combat. You want to just shoot at people. This is a first-person shooter after all. You want to get in, and you don't want to run from one side of the map all the way to the other just to find some action. But at the end of the day, and I think in the grand scheme of things, this new system reduces a lot of the frustration that occurred with this mechanic, and in general, it is a good thing for Battlefield 4. The next question is, what do you think about bringing back Gunmaster into Battlefield 4? I always loved it back in Battlefield 3, and I think it would be an awesome addition into the game. I don't know if you're a prophet or not, or if you're just really, really lucky, but you submitted this question last Sunday, and just a few days ago, DICE announced that they are actually bringing back Gunmaster. If you guys aren't aware, Gunmaster was something that we had back in Battlefield 3 with the Close Quarter DLC, where if you played something like Counter-Strike, I'm sure there's a lot of other first-person shooters out there, you start off with a pistol or some sort of gun, and then as soon as you kill an enemy with that weapon, you progress on over into the next weapon. And it's this really cool game mode where you basically get to use a wide variety of weaponry. If you're someone who has mastered a lot of weapons, or you just like to have a lot of variety in your gameplay, this was a very fun experience. And clearly, since you asked this, that there is a want to have this game mode reintroduced into Battlefield 4. We don't necessarily know when this is going to be launching. DICE did say that they're also going to be adding in 5 new weapons. There's going to be 5 new weapons in an upcoming DLC, but we don't know when that DLC is going to launch. It could be with the new community map that we're currently working on. It could be with the new night maps, maybe all of those old Battlefield maps that we voted on to try to have them be reintroduced into Battlefield 4. Maybe that's when we're going to be getting the new game modes and the new weapons. Kind of hard to say at this point, but yes, I don't know if you're a prophet or not, or just really, really lucky. Gunmaster will be reintroduced into Battlefield 4, and hopefully it will be in the near future. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.